here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. This whole rifles, pistols, shotgun, when you look at the calendar, we're just about at hunting seasons. And for a lot of people, that means wing shooting, bird shooting, whether it's upland game or waterfowl. And everybody wants to be a better shot. Nobody ever says, I want to be a worse shot. And when it comes to that, we always bring in our good buddy, Bryan Bilinski. He's known as Dr. Shotgun. He is the owner, the grand poobah, if you will, of Field Sport up in Traverse City, Michigan. How you doing, partner?
Hey.
I think there are more misconceptions, misperceptions, and just bad information about wing shooting than there is possibly about rifle and pistol shooting put together. What do you think?
I agree 1,000%.
Well, basically, if I'm your average coach trying to help somebody to get clay targets, all I need to do is say, you're missing them from behind. You're behind them. You're behind them. That's all I say all day long, right?
Sometimes you're correct.
All right. You have this brand new book out. We got to talk about the book. And I love the title, and I know you know why. Wing Shooting, the Art and the Science. And for those of us old enough to remember, that is paying homage to Bob Brister's book, Shotgunning, the Art and the Science. I mean, when you go back, what was that, 35 years ago now? Something like that?
Oh, every bit of that. Yep.
Yeah. It was a groundbreaking book about shotgunning and shotguns. And basically, Bob was just one of those guys that tinkered with everything. I mean, who else would have his wife driving the car, pulling a boat trailer with a 16-foot long piece of butcher paper taped to it so that he could shoot at it and see what shot stringing looked like?
It was Bob Brister all the way.
And now we have Wing Shooting, the Art and the Science. Why do people miss with a shotgun?
I got a whole chapter on why we miss.
Yeah?
It starts out with saying we are human, all right? No human is perfect. And there are a lot of reasons people miss. And you kind of, as a coach, you dissect it down. I mean, our job is to know where they're missing and then why they're missing, where they're missing when we're coaching. But, you've got to go through all the mechanics and the fundamentals, everything from, is it the human process that's at fault? Is it the person's stance? Is it their posture? Is it that they don't have the starting in a correct ready position? Is it they're not moving well in harmony with the target? Is they're not finishing their gun mount? Are they not focusing hard on the target?
Well, and it can even
not staying in their gun.
It could even be physical. Is their vision bad? Or are they cross-eyed down? You address all of these things in the book.
I do, and as the years have passed, now we're going into almost the 29th year of the schools. History repeats itself over and over and over again. Human beings suffer through some of the same problems. The next human being, same problems. And so consequently, as coaches, we've got to polish the person off as quickly as we can. Whether it's eye dominance, whether it's gun fit, whether it's technique. And the answer usually is, what's more important, gun fit or technique? My answer is always the same thing. Yes.
Because you can't have, your technique won't work if the gun doesn't fit you. Is that fair?
That is very fair. And, there's some people that get away with an average fit. And, the average gun made for the rack is an attempt to fit Mr. or Mrs. Average. Well, as doing gun fittings for over 40 years, I know that Mr. or Mrs. Average is out there. I just never met them.
They're not. It's not that common, and you might be able to get away with it. And, the other part of it is, Bryan, after a while, we all get pretty good at accommodating, don't we?
We do. And, I just had a gentleman this afternoon coming up from Indiana who in his fitting, it was a process he had never gone through. And when he shot the plate, he realized where his mistakes had occurred because of his points of impact of his gun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an eye-opening experience. But unless I was telling him as we finished, you're probably less than 5% of Americans have been fitted in some way, shape, form, or another.
Right.
every gun, and I told them the dichotomy is if you're shooting gun up, which a high percentage of American shooters do on trap, skeet, 5-stand, sporting clays, and even a FETAS, no, but live,
Yes,
a lease.
so they're starting
All
with
those
start with a gun on the shoulder when you say gun
That's
up.
right. Pre-mounted. Well, you don't have to shoot a perfectly fitted gun pre-mounted. You've got time to adjust. You position your eye, and the athleticism of moving and mounting shooting is not in existence with a pre-mounted gun. All bets are off now when you're walking through the grouse woods and a grouse flushes totally in the opposite direction you expect. Now you've got to enhance the athleticism of moving and mounting and shooting. That's why I commonly say to everybody in the school, I said, this is a wing shooting school. You're going to have to learn to shoot from a gun down position so that you can build the muscle memory that requires you to do the right thing when you're totally caught off guard, bird flushes, move, mount, shoot, dead bird.
I love the old phrase that says, to hit is history and to miss is mystery. And most of the time, we have no idea where we missed. So that's part of the process is figuring out where's the gun pointing, how does it fit you. But let's fast forward through this. I mean, we got this new book, Wingshooting, the Art and the Science. People who want to be better wing shots, to break more clay targets, or to bring down more live birds, where do they go to find this? How do they get a copy?
They can get it from our store, which is Field Sport in Traverse City, Michigan. And our website will take you to our phone number. We're going to have a website out within a couple of weeks. That'll be Field Sport Press.
Okay.
If they want the book immediately, just call or look at our website. The phone number is on there. Call Deb at the store, and she can take your credit card number and ship you out a copy of the book. And the new video that's a companion to that.
Brand new video with the same name. It's fieldsportltd.com, fieldsportltd.com. And the video is an hour long of you teaching wing shooting.
That's right. And this is more advanced than the old tape I did 20 years ago. This one's really state of the art. A lot more examples of how to shoot in the video, crossing shots, quartering away shots, high incomers, things we didn't do back in the old days. Now we have the technology. I had a lot of drone shots of the shooting method being implemented.
Let me say this, having shot with you, having, been through school, done the gun fitting, the whole thing, most people, having never done any of that, really have no idea what you're talking about. And it's that whole world of you don't know what you don't know. And I was explaining this to a friend of mine who's a very good shot just this morning. And I was explaining the gun mount and tracking the bird with the barrels and all that. He grew up shooting a rifle. And
Amen.
Learning how to shoot a rifle well, I would say, works to your detriment when you're trying to hit a flying target with a shotgun.
Yeah, I say that right as we lead out. I said, we're not a nation of wing shooters. We are a nation of riflemen.
Mm-hmm.
First gun we get's our BB gun. We line up sights and aim at a can in the backyard. Second gun we get's a pellet gun. We line up sights. We aim at a gopher in the backyard. Third gun we get's a 22 rifle. We line up sights, shoot a squirrel out of the tree. Fourth gun we get's a bright, shiny new shotgun. Grandpa takes you out behind the barn, throws a clay target for you. Tells you, Brian, put the bead on the target and pull the trigger. You're screwed for life.
There it is. I mean, and you said, knock off the bead, get rid of the bead. And I tell them, if you can see the barrel, if you're looking down the barrel, you're probably going to miss, or at least you're not going to shoot well.
Yeah, well, that's, that concept is because the human eye can't focus on two planes at one time. We either focus in or out. But the problem with shooting a shotgun and being focused in is when you see the bead or have too much reference to the gun, your swing slows and stops because of the way the human eye works.
Yep.
It's critical. When I go through all the fundamentals of the school, numero uno continues to always be focus. Your eye has to be out on the target when you shoot a shotgun. Your focus has to be basically 99% on the target. We know where our gun is, but it's got to be seen in our peripheral vision, not the way you line up a rifle. And a rifle is a tool that's aimed. A handgun is a tool that's aimed. A shotgun is a tool that's pointed.
You can't catch a baseball by looking at your glove.
Or hit a tennis ball by looking at your racket.
There it is.
Or hit a golf ball by looking at the club head.
And I'm just going to tell people, look, going out and saying, I'm going to go warm up, I'm going to shoot a bunch of clay targets and get ready for hunting season. It's very possible. All you're really doing is making more permanent your bad habits. And I'm just going to tell you, this is a wonderful book. You've done a great job with it. You've distilled a lifetime of instruction experience into this. And between this and the video, if people will get serious about it and get these and read it and watch it and say, I'm going to try these things. I'm going to, even if I can't get to go train with Bryan, I'm going to go try these things. I will guarantee you, people, that at first it's going to screw you up. And then right after that, you're going to go, wow, I'm hitting targets. But at first it does screw you up because it's a whole different thing.
Anytime you change is painful.
Yes.
But wing shooting is simple. And sadly, we've made it more difficult than it needs to be. When we finish the shooting school, I say the same thing to everyone. I said, our gift to you is a method. What you do with it now is very important to what you do with afterwards, because muscle memory doesn't just happen by reading a book, watching a video. You got to put it into practice and over and over and over again correctly. As you said, you got to be careful you're not making bad mistakes that can haunt you, later in the season or as the season begins. Those factors are so important in shooting well.
I got to scoot here, my friend. I appreciate your time. I love the book. Can't wait to see the video. You are Dr. Shotgun. You are one of the leading instructors in wing shooting and gun fitting in the country. And what you provide here is a lifetime of instruction. Congratulations. Well done.
All the experience I've had in 40 years is consummated into this book, and I hope it'll help anyone that reads it.
I can't imagine anybody who's into wing shooting not getting something from this book. Bryan Bilinski, thank you so much. FieldsportLTD.com. 866-TALK-GUN is the magic number here. Give me a shout. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.